What's going on, guys? This is Costi with PickDawgz. I'm here with Eric for episode 16 of Tales from the Ticket. We are here every single Thursday at 1 o'clock, breaking down all the strategies. We do a live Q&A. This is much different than the other shows that we have on this platform. It's really designed for talking strategies and how to attack the markets, and we do a lot of storytelling here as well. Eric, what's going on, brother?
Man, I got a lot of stories. What's up, man? First of all, how many famous stars are here this week? Because one of our business partners said he couldn't even get home this morning from the gym. He said everything was locked down. He said everything's detoured around. So
no, I mean, you can't. Well,
what's going on here in Baltimore, Maryland?
Yeah,
why are we so famous right now?
The BMW Championship is about 5 minutes from where I live. It's about 10 minutes from the office. That's for those that follow the golf markets. It is the secondary, the middle, the in-between tournament in the FedEx Cup, where it's the best 50 players. But it's not shut down. He just can't take the route that he wants to take home. If you actually draw it out, you just get around everything. You just got to take the long ride home. But yeah, everything. It's the back roads here in the county in Owings Mills, and it's like a one way in, one way out type of town. And if they have one road shut down, it's a disaster. But I was there yesterday. I was there for the ProAm. I saw a bunch of the golfers. You could actually have a lot of interaction with them because it's such a light day. Like the first day of the tournament is
Give me
today.
names. Be a name drop or drop names. A lot of golfers.
Name drop. It's golf. I mean, I saw 20 different guys. Who cares?
Who's the most famous guy?
I would say Rory, McIlroy.
So where do you think these guys are staying? In Hunt Valley?
No, they rent houses all over.
Right. Got it.
They probably stay in Hunt Valley. They probably stay downtown. They get free because it's the BMW Championship. They get free BMWs for the week, and then you see like 100 Beamers in the parking lot. But the way that the course is, the location of the course, it's not like a stadium. So it's not like going to Camden Yards or going to Raven Stadium, M&T Bank, because there's parking lots. So the security guards could then assist you in and out. The stadiums are put in locations where you could successfully get in and out. Now you throw in a private golf course that's basically like Green Spring, for those that are not from here, obviously don't understand, but
right.
It's two roads basically in the back roads of a county where it's not city, and it's one road in that goes across, and they shut that road down altogether. So the parking lot for this event, which is probably going to be, I don't know, 60,000 people, maybe more. I don't know. But they created a parking lot. Eric, you might not know where this place, across from Caves Valley. It's called Caves Farms. It's a huge farm.
I cycle all through there. I know.
Through farms? Well, you probably see it. Yeah. So in that farm, they created parking lots where the ride share is. So you have to go there, either park there or get dropped off. Then you got to walk a half a mile. Caves golf course to begin with is very hilly. So, I mean, like yesterday I did 22,000 steps. So, but for me as an avid golfer, it's really exciting because I'm into it. And then yesterday I went for the ProAm, which is
Maryland. I was telling Ted, our partner, Maryland gets a lot of love after these BMW Championship. There's a hardcore bike race that is also in the Valley. And these cyclists come from all over the world, like Tour de France guys. It's actually September 5th. I won't be here, unfortunately. And they go all the way Falls Road and all through. And they say that some of these roads are just as good as cycling in France. And I'm like, man, I just do this every day. I don't even think about it. It's like crazy.
Isn't it wild to think that they compare something like that?
Right. It's nuts.
It's nuts.
And I
But
ride
that's
it
'cause
as
we're
my
used to it.
training ride every day, right? Which is one of the reasons why and again, for anybody watching this from Las Vegas, I never fell in love with Vegas like a lot of people do, because as a cyclist and an athlete, it's just brutal. Like our friend Nick, Troy's son, he's a cyclist. He has to cycle 4:30 in the morning, and by 8, it's 110 degrees. It's like not even livable. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people, when they come from Vegas or the Southwest, they come here and they're like, I can't believe how green it is. And as I've gotten older, I appreciate it more than, when you're younger, you always think every place. I always say, first of all, where you live doesn't change anything, because you're the same person no matter where you live. So everybody's like, oh, it would be awesome if I moved to Las Vegas. Like in the beginning of my career, there was this whole idea that you would have an edge just by breathing the oxygen in Las Vegas. Like it would make you a better handicapper. They would say Vegas, Vegas, Vegas. And then for people that don't know this, I'd say from 2013 to 2020 to COVID, I was in Vegas every other week, 52 weeks a year. Did the radio show in Las Vegas, flew back and forth. I was just laughing with Ted about it. It costs more to go to Vegas now than it does to fly to Europe from the East Coast. I mean, I don't know if you check the tickets, Costi. It's like they're all out there for Bet Bash right now. And it's not, if I had a reason to go, I would go. But it's like $1,100 to fly from BWI Airport on Southwest to Las Vegas. Back in the day when you and I first originally hooked up, I was paying like $130 a ticket each way.
The price is irrelevant. It's the value of going there.
Exactly.
I mean, the value of going there is pointless because, like you said, in years past, it was more of a who you knew. And when we did a lot and we met these syndicate groups, a lot of them happened to be from Las Vegas, and they started there, or they were betting live at the casinos there. Right. They were marked for sharp betting there. So going out and meeting them in person and running through the data and finding, a product for us to market was important. And that's when
now I just need this, and I'm in Vegas.
Well, it's not even that. It's the connections are made they're not local to Vegas anymore.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. I mean, these guys are all over. And a lot of the products that we put our name behind, it's not particularly out of Vegas. So irrelevant. I think it comes with the territory of all the legalization across the nation, where a lot less people are intrigued to go and spend 10 grand on a weekend for something that they could do locally. Like there's plenty of other ways to spend money. I mean, look, the food is great. I'm not going to ever take that away. That's always the shows are great. Now that they have the Sphere, that's great. I think I'm more intrigued to go to Vegas more consistently outside of our regular March Madness trip, where we do a lot of the meet and greets. We meet up with the entire PickDawgz team. It's a yearly thing that we've done and we're going to continue to do. But if there's a game there, if the Ravens play the Raiders, or eventually they're going to have a baseball stadium open up, I mean, that would be more intriguing to go out there for a game, but it has nothing to do with the business side for us anymore. Where, like you said, in the past, there was, a lot of the biggest players like David Miller. We haven't had him on this show yet. One of the sharpest minds, basically a human robot when it comes to finding market edges. He originated in Las Vegas betting at the casinos, right? So he originated betting. Then he realized there was a loophole in Colorado. So he then flocked from Vegas to Colorado, where he had about a 6-year run, maybe 7.
Yeah, 6 year, yeah,
6 or 7 year run. Now that the market is saturated in Colorado, he moved back to Vegas. So a lot of these pro betting groups are going to move geographically to the location they're going to get the most money out of. Think about it. These guys it's like you moving and getting a job in Cleveland, Ohio. You don't want to move to Cleveland, Ohio, but because you have a job there, you're going to move there. It's similar with these betting groups. They're going to move to locations that they can make the most amount of money. Their biggest hurdle, like we talk about every week, Eric, is getting money down. So this is where we come in. Why do we market these plays from these betting groups?
Well, so I don't
Answer
know.
the question.
So I'm smiling and I'm laughing because
No, seriously, I'm asking you a question.
What's your question? Go ahead.
You weren't even paying attention.
Go ahead. I was reading these comments on the video. Go ahead.
What? Forget about it, man. Focus. It's the tails from the ticket, man. I said these betting groups.
Oh, they can't because so the hardest thing a lot of people accuse us of repeating the same thing. Winning is easy, betting is hard. That's it. So when you're in a world where you're getting limited constantly and you can't bet enough, you can make money selling the information. These syndicates can make an extra source of revenue by appealing to the masses with the global betting. It was the same thing before it was legal. I've been doing this longer where it was not legal than legal. I mean, we're talking the legalization of sports wagering is 5 years old, and this is my 39th football season. So why we sell plays from major betting syndicates is because they look for ways to monetize their efforts, which is kind of a stopgap when they get limited from the sports books that refuse to take their action or make the bet so small that it's not worth it. I mean, that's really in a nutshell. The reason why I was laughing, and it leads into your question. So I have fun, I do the YouTube channel every day with a complimentary selection. And I am a master of eliciting comments when I want to. I could be dry, boring. This is your complimentary selection, blah, blah. But I like to entertain people because part of this is entertainment plus telling people what it is that we actually do, which differentiates us from traditional handicappers. And when I get the most negativity, I know I'm doing something right. So like yesterday, I got lit up in the comments. If you want to pull it up, Costi, I'll let you laugh. I'm not going to even read them to you. You go to yesterday's video, lit up. And what's interesting about that is that the people in the comments would never actually be clients. So let them have their fun, right? Lighting me up. I don't care. But I also I ask myself, does this person actually listen, or people's listen to the message that I'm trying to convey? Which is, I'm trying to be entertaining, but I'm also trying to convey that it really isn't that hard to win. It seems that this is a very touchy subject for people. They don't want to hear that it's not hard to win. It's like saying to somebody, it's not hard to lose weight. Unless you're certain people and there's a medical issue, and we have some clients in that situation, Big D in Tampa. But no, it's really easy to lose weight. Just don't eat. It's really easy to win. It's really easy to win. And I find, are you reading the comments?
Yeah, after you were done, I was going to respond.
Lit up. So go ahead. Have some fun with these comments. I'll let you. You know how to post the comments.
Well, no, I can't post the comments from there. But so here's the thing. You have a unique skill set of dealing with high net worth individuals and teaching them logistically how to navigate the sports markets. Kind of like you are the hedge fund owner and you're talking to that guy that's a CEO that wants to invest money and he's already doing it himself, but you're helping him, right?
Right.
What you can't provide is, if you're a hedge fund owner like yourself, is dealing to the 22-year-old. I'm not saying anything about young kids or young people or anything in general. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You're not going to appeal to the kid looking for free content because it goes over the head, right? Completely over the head. So one guy basically.
This is mind you, I gave out Cincinnati for free. They won.
Well, they still won, but basically the one person said exactly what is the demographic of the complainers. I came here for info, but paying for plays is not my thing. That is the basic description of a watcher, not a buyer. And there's not enough excitement in your game delivery versus they don't want to hear about the education side. They just want to hear about the game delivery and why you like the game.
So the counter of that is when you're not here to pay for plays, you are actually paying for plays. You're just paying your bookmaker instead of paying your advisor. So because that's what I call delusional. Somebody actually said that I was delusional. Eric Townsend said, 39 years doing this and you mix up your own system plays. The ask is 500 delusional. Delusional is thinking that and again, I don't care. It's delusional is when you use the legalized sports wagering to your advantage as an astute student of what it takes to win. And I said this last week. All you have to do is read the press alerts from the sports books. Literally nobody wins. No, they borrow money. Borrowing money and winning is two different things. So let's make that distinction, Costi. I'm going to ask you, Costi, what's the difference between borrowing money and winning?
Borrowing money is having the up and down, up and down, up and down. You win some, you win it back. You win some.
What defines you as actually winning?
Winning money is actually keeping a profit and then.
Well, it's actually more than that. It's doing that step that most people don't do, actually withdrawing the money.
Right.
And saying, oh, I want to buy my 8th bass guitar, so I'll withdraw some money and buy my 8th bass guitar. Or being able to look at things that are tangible that come from the fruits of your sports wagers. When you do a deep dive into the quarterly reports of these publicly traded stock companies, FanDuel and DraftKings, and you see that their profits are up 47%, mostly due to parlays, but there's a little, if you get into the financials, what percentage of people do you think actually withdraw their winnings?
Less than 5%. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what happens is it's a one-way flow in. There's never a redemption being taken. Obviously, if you're dealing with a local credit bookmaker and you're meeting Vinny on the corner, obviously there's a flow of capital. If you're offshore, it's the same thing. They're just not publicly traded. Nobody's making redemptions. If it's a publicly traded company, FanDuel, DraftKings, the like, very few people are making redemptions. So what winds up happening is that I don't really understand this desire. It's like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're thinking that you're putting all your energy into doing this. But then again, for what purpose? Like, are you able to say, oh, my car out front is from my sports wagering? Oh, I just bought my wife a diamond ring or a pretty necklace or a set of earrings from my sports wagering? Or is it just it's just a circle jerk? It's just an illusion that you think that you're winning, and in the end you get if you took all your money that you're wagering and you bought a sports book stock, you're going to make more money than if you actually wager, because the stock's going to keep going up.
The thing that the
You
analogy.
can be the house now. You can buy the stock and be the house. Go ahead.
Well,
it's not a financial advisor.
It's never going to be the case because people are going to consistently play. It's how do we educate them the right way to be successful? My opinion, again, this is my opinion only. I've been in this business for over a decade. Cling on to an independent guy on this channel. If you really like for example, just earlier, Mills came on and is going to be a huge MMA card. Mills, by the way, I'm very, very excited. I was going to ask you who you like in the main event if you're
The
still
question
here.
is, whose beard is better?
Yeah, that they're both equal. But if you like a certain person and you see their success, you don't try them for a day, a week, because that becomes the insanity of what you just said. It's the hamster wheel. You're not really getting fluid, consistent volume. The key is to find that person, and there's plenty of them on this channel. And at a minimum, I always suggest 30 days, because anything less than 30 days, the win-loss becomes completely random. We've had pro betting groups come on the show before that would tell you less than 1,000 games is completely random. Now, I get it. If you're doing this, recreationally, you might not have the life cycle of doing it for 30 days. You might be a weekend warrior. With NFL and college football coming up, you might just be excited about betting on the weekends. But the reality is the most successful betting groups don't stop playing sports. The only sport I've seen them stop playing, and they actually still do it, but they just know they have the lowest edge, is baseball. Handicappers tend to have the best records in baseball because it's data-driven sport.
Right.
I mean, one of my really good friends and top handicapper on this platform is Jay Yang. He's the top on the MLB leaderboard. But look at his volume. Over 500 plays. Over 500 plays this baseball season. And the guy's throwing out volume every single day. There is no off day for him. There is no, I just want to skip today. That's how you print money. That's how you print money. It's got to be long term. Now, I have a good analogy to what you said, because like earlier today, I was playing golf. And I was playing absolutely terrible. And usually after my round, when I play terrible, I go to the driving range and fix whatever's going on to try to have that confidence when I wake up the next day, right? And today I even said to myself, it was hot. I was already sticky. I was like, I'm not even going to fix it. I was like, why do I torture myself over and over again? I'm never going to be elite. I'm never going to be a great golfer, but I have the expectation that I'm going to be a great golfer. So to correlate that to sports betting, when you're an amateur, opinionized sports gambler,
I like that, opinionized.
You're basically saying to yourself, I'm going to keep throwing darts. And if today doesn't go good, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I'm going to do it the next day. And I'm going to do it the next day. And what happens is 2 months go by and you realize I'm really not that good with my opinion. You're driving yourself insane. I'm living in the insanity cycle of golf, but I recognize it. I know I'm never going to be great, but for whatever reason, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I have the anticipation of going low and being a good player. And that's the same exact psychological effect with sports betting. Now, if I didn't have to, if I was a, gazillionaire, billionaire that didn't have to work, didn't have to do anything, had family money, and could be a golfer 7 days a week, didn't have a family, didn't have a wife to answer to, had a coach with me 7 days a week, I probably would become better. Why? Because I'm paying for that education 7 days a week. But because I'm in and out, I'm not consistent 7 days a week with golf. It's the same thing with sports betting.
Yeah, but no. So let's dive deep into the psychology of that. I hear you, and I'm not saying what you said is invalid when I say no. I'm looking at velo camps. You know what velo camps are?
Mm-mm.
Velo camps are cycling tours in other countries where you basically ride the route of, let's say, the Tour de France. And it's like, are you 50 years old? Do you think you're going to be? And they have coaches that go out and they guide you, and you're not doing it. You're doing it for the experience. So you're not doing it to actually win anything. So as crazy as you are in golf, as insane as I am, I'm equally, I'm nuts when it comes to cycling. So I was, it's expensive. It's like 5,000 for a week. It's like 1,000. It's like 5,000 for 5 days. It's like 1,000 a day. And I'm like, I'm probably going to do this. You got to fly to Spain and you go up in the mountains and you're doing something. Do I think it's going to make me a better cyclist?
But that's one bet for you. That's one bet.
And we're not talking about the money. What we're talking about, you're comparing it to sports betting.
Right.
You're playing golf for the competitive love of the sport, where what you get out of it is just as much fun when you're having a bad day or as a good day. Just like when I bonk out on a bike and I'm riding, and I have some days where I feel like I'm like 20 years old and I'm just rolling. I have other days, like I already know when I get off the show, I'm going to do a quick 20 miles in this insane oppressive humidity. Who knows? I could just like have the worst ride ever. But you're doing it for the dopamine hit, regardless of whether it's a good trip or a bad trip. Sports betting, there's no exercise. You're not getting anything financially. You're not getting anything out of it other than the dopamine hit of thinking that you're winning or losing because your balance is going up or down in the account. Now you have receipts after you play golf. The receipts is you were out there and you were sweating and you did 22,000 steps. I have receipts. I'm coming back. There's no receipts with betting. Betting is no different. I also think that one of the things that a lot of people could do is change the terminology, right? If you're in the crypto space, you're a crypto what? Are you a crypto? Oh, but you're not a crypto bettor. You're a crypto trader.
Right.
If you're in the stock space, what are you? You're a stock trader, right? If you're in the commodities market, you're a commodity trader. And then when it comes to sports trading, you say betting. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you. Listen, I tell you what.
Not everybody, Eric. Not everybody's negative. The positive people don't need to put the positives in the comments.
I got attacked yesterday. I'm going to say this for Oliver. I'm going to make an assumption here that Oliver might be Hispanic with that last name. I got attacked on my video. Some of the things that launch people into tirades, Costi, it's amazing. So I took Spanish for 8 years. I have Spanish speaking members of my family. You hear me on the phone anytime somebody calls from Mexico, they just toss the phone directly to me, or Venezuela, right? There, Puerto Rico, they just let Eric take the call. And I speak to the guy in Spanish. And I said, Al flew back from Detroit, Michigan yesterday to Los Angeles. Now, for people that don't speak Spanish, people always say LA incorrectly. It's LOS, and then Vegas is LAS. So it's Los Angeles, but people just say Los Angeles, and then people say Las Vegas. So I said to Al, welcome back to Los Angeles. And I get in the comments that I'm being rude and I'm making fun of. What? I speak Spanish. Like, what is wrong with people? Like, the things that people I notice in social media that they worry about, it just defies my brain. Somebody calls me from Mexico. I've never had one person from Mexico tell me your Spanish sucks, or Puerto Rico, your Spanish sucks. And then I get critiqued for how I said Los Angeles. Anyway, I just had to say that. Thank you, Oliver, for your comment. If you speak Spanish, you can call me. If you don't understand anything I'm saying, I'll do my best to speak to you in Spanish. I think I might speak better Spanish, Costi, than you speak Russian.
Yeah, I'm not. My Russian is quite choppy at this point. I do understand about 90% of it.
I was going to say, when I send you like those goof videos or those war videos, you understand it.
No, so it's weird. The slang I don't understand anymore because I'm not around it.
Look at JoJo's comment.
Yeah.
No say. Go ahead.
But when my parents speak to me, I understand it because they speak slow and they're older. Like, I've been around like young, they were already women. It's not like girls. They were in their 30s.
Right.
And when they were talking to each other, couldn't catch it. It was like they were talking so fast and so much slang that I I caught like one
So
every
is Russian
6
like
words.
Spanish? So, like for instance,
It's like
I was
German. It's very hard.
no. What I meant where every accent is different. So, like for instance, I really have like it's funny because one of the cycling trips I want to take is in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and they speak Spanish with an Italian.
Well, they're more Portuguese, right? Or no?
No,
That's
Spanish.
Brazil.
Yeah. But the accent is completely easy to understand because it's very clear and there's enunciation.
I think it comes down to the person, like
No,
the
but like
age.
go to port, like you and I went to the Dominican Republic. I can't understand anything. They just speak Cuba. I went to.
Oh yeah,
I can't
yeah. I
understand
feel like,
Puerto Rico. I can understand everything. It's
I
like
mean, Hispanic, I guess, you know,
no, but what I'm saying is
speaking
Russian, like
Spanish.
the same. Where like if you're
I don't,
Belarus
I don't
Russian,
know. No, because Russia is so big and so vast that like once you get to the Asian side, where it's closer to like Japan, closer to China on that side,
right?
it's a different language than it is on the east side, right?
I'm proud of you though. You had somebody text you in Russian the other day. One of your one of your clients off a game.
I can't understand. I can't read it. So
Oh, you can't read it. Got it. So I think as we get closer to football, obviously
wait, 9 days away, right?
9 days away. I got the lines right up here as we're talking. And again, I'm not talking about preseason. I'm talking about college football. I was doing the numbers with Al on the video yesterday. If you faded last year, if you faded all the line moves in preseason, you were 26-13 so far right now, depending upon who you use as the opener, whether you use Pinnacle as the opener or FanDuel as the opener, you're either 9-4 or 10-3 with no handicapping. We discussed that on the videos on yesterday's video. So again, there's some tricks in the trades. I also think that I enjoy sharing now, like the comments from Oliver. Great. I love it. And that's what I know that, again, I'm not here for everybody. I'm going to get that small percentage of clients. But what I think that, and I said this in last week's video, and there's not a way to explain to people. I think people like to make things harder than it actually is. And I think what happens is it's an affront to their sensibilities when you tell somebody winning is easy. And they're sitting there and they have piles of paper on their desk and they're reading all the articles in ESPN or they're reading all the articles at PickDawgz and they're putting hours into this. And then you come across and you say, winning is easy. I think instead of looking at that as a negative, which a lot of people do, a lot of people literally take issue with being told winning is easy. Remember, if you throw the dart at the sports page, the worst you'll do is 50%, right? The difference between somebody that makes no money and the difference between somebody that makes a lot of money is 4 or 5 percentage points. It's it, Costi. It's the difference between going.
Well, it's also just, I wanted to go over the actual football strategy. The most successful football strategies that we promote have a rating system attached to it. When I say ratings, they're percentage points of your bankroll. So we have a conservative trading style where you're risking 0.5% up to 5% of your bankroll, right? 0.5% up to 5%. So if your bankroll's 10,000, you're betting 50 to 500, right?
Right.
50 to 500. So most people that have that sizable bankroll don't bet like we bet. They do it on a much bigger scale. So guys with a $10,000 bankroll, they want to bet 1,000 a game. It's what happens is you could get lucky and you win early, but chances are you're going to put yourself in a precarious position where if you have 5 losses in a row, now 50% is gone. Now what are you going to do? Now you're looking to fund your bankroll again. It's kind of like trading crypto or stocks. If you have a loss, you then have to replenish your bankroll. What's up, Eric?
I'm trying to process this comment somebody just wrote in the text. But real quick, before I do that, Seth Gecko said, Eric looks like he finished a betting boot camp at Sturgis. So I'm going to see if I can put this in focus.
Yeah. We got.
Can you see that?
Yeah, that's a Harley man.
That's me on my Harley coming back from Sturgis 20 years ago. Sturgis, for all those people that know, is a rally in South Dakota where all the Harley guys. I was riding Harleys for 15 years. How would you? I don't know if I should respond to Barry's comment.
Nah, this isn't about that.
Barry Ivrit, yo hablo español, and I speak English. So I don't know what the guy's talking about. Anime de Berivrit, yo hablo español, and I speak English. I'm fluent in all three. Go ahead.
So, it's with football. I always, if you're going to, which you are, if you're watching this, when you attack the football markets this year, understand that have an open-minded approach about betting other sports on the days that you're not playing football. Football is basically 2 days out of the week that you could financially find nuggets. When I say nuggets is on a college football Saturday, for our betting groups, we're probably making 60 to 70% return of the week on a Saturday.
Right. And just so you know, like that video I did with Al yesterday, there's 12 games, preseason games, 9 have already moved. So when you're doing that reverse line move, if you want to get into the volume world, you got to. The biggest problem is somebody will have a system and then they want to cherry pick the system. So if you say, well, reverse line moves, bet them. You were 26-13 last year. So far, you're 10-3 or 9-4, and then you have 9 that already moved. You can't just say, well, I want to bet 3 of the 9. You have to either bet all 9 if they move at post or not bet all 9. What's the comment? I don't know how.
That's for you. Right. Because he's already on he follows your baseball system. So explain to him the difference. Baseball and football are completely different, but I'll let you answer that.
I don't know how I'm supposed to start laying. Listen, the remedy is you overcome the point spread. First of all, you look for a 5-cent line. There's a lot of sports books out there that you can negotiate a 5-cent line with. A lot of people don't realize that. There's sports books like 5 Dimes, and there's Low Vig, and there's other sports books out there. And then even with FanDuel and DraftKings, if you're what would they call a VIP player, you can negotiate a 5-cent line where you're laying 105 versus laying 10 cents.
Yep.
But the difference is in baseball betting, you're betting the same amount of money. Like today, I have 4 plays on my Underdog channel that I already released. With the if I win everything, I have 4 plays that I bet a dime on each, 1,000, 4,000 to win a potential of 53.50, right? So if I go 2-2, I make money. Obviously, you could lose all 4 or win all 4, but I'm only risking 4 units to win 5.3.
Now explain, what is a unit? Explain
a
that.
Unit in my world is 1% of your bankroll. For me, my unit. So when I say I'm betting 1,000, 1,000 means you're starting with a bankroll of 100,000. Not I'm betting 10,000 on 100,000, right? A unit is 1%. If you're a professional sports bettor, like Dave Miller, like Micah Smith, like myself, like you, Costi, everybody knows the only way you can stay in the game is to handle the variance, which is another fancy word for the roller coaster ride, the drawdowns. And the only way you're going to do that is never run out of money. And the way you never run out of money, no matter how bad the losing streak is, you're betting such a small amount of money on each individual game that it doesn't impact thus said bankroll, which is 1%. So I technically can bet 100 games simultaneously. I could bet 100 games simultaneously 7 days a week. And the only way I could lose my bankroll is to lose net 100 games. Well, you already know that without any handicapping whatsoever, without any knowledge of anything, if you just throw darts at the board, you're going to go 50-50. So nobody's losing 100 net units. I mean, look, anything's possible, but this is why Martingale systems don't work. So the difference, Oliver's question is, Just like each stock has a different price, each game has a different value. If you go back and you Google Billy Walters 60 Minutes, I think that video is on YouTube. It's 11 years old, 13 years old. There's a statement in his interview where he says, I make a line. The bigger the difference between the line that I have and the line that is there, the bigger the bet. So the biggest mistake most people do in college and pro football and basketball is they try to pick more winners than losers, and they treat every game the same. That only works if you're getting plus money. If you're not getting plus money,
or if you have a system.
So
you're dealing with a pro that has a system.
So you take Al McMorty. Al McMorty in college basketball was 379 and 279 last season. He was literally how it happened. It just happened to be that way. He won 100 more games than he lost in college basketball. So what a lot of people do is, the marketing, they don't really do the real numbers. They say, oh, I was up 100 games. No, you weren't. Because if you bet the same amount on every game, it's 279 times 1,100, which is 306,900 minus 379,000 equals 72,100 minus 100,000. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. So think about that. You're up 100 games last season in college basketball. So you could easily put on a website, Al's up 100 games. No, Al's up 72.1 games. So you literally almost have 30% taken away just in the 10% VIG. Now, if you were a member of Al's All Access, you made 120 units the entire year. Now, this isn't to sell you anything. This is to explain the difference. You made 507 units, varying your wager with a different price. So you could have went online, you could have bought his games and made 120 units versus 507 units. So the way professional bettors make up for the VIG is back to what Billy Walters said in that interview on 60 Minutes. The bigger the difference between what we have our number and what the number is, the bigger the bet. None of these guys hit 70%, 80%, 90%. Billy Walters made hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know him personally, but his story's out there. It's all public information. Considered one of the world's best sports bettors in the world, 56% on a good year. But who cares if you had 100,000 on one game and you had 10,000 on another game? So now in the stock market, what's very interesting is you'll have stock analysts upgrade and downgrade stocks. Medium, hold, buy, sell. It's the same thing in a sports betting world when you're dealing with 10% juice. Nobody cares about the win-loss record on a Saturday. You're Al and you have 20 games, and I've done it because what I do, Costi, is I do the video the next day and I'll say, we had 14 games, we went 7-7. If you went online and you purchased the 14 games, you lost juice because you bet each game individually. To Oliver's answer, but not if you're a member of ratings, where hopefully if you went 7-7, hopefully, doesn't always work out that way, you had more money on the higher rated plays. A lot of people use adjectives like better. There's no better game. When you're dealing with math and you're dealing with quants like Al or other syndicates or other handicappers, it's about a number. I'm making my game -3. The line is -6. Well, I have a 3-point advantage if I'm betting the underdog because that team should be getting +3 and they're getting 6. I'm going to make a bigger bet with a 3-point advantage. If I'm making a favorite -3 and the favorite is -3.5, and there's only a half a point differential, obviously the bet can't be worth as much as getting an extra 3 points. Does that make sense, Costi?
No, of course. I mean, that's totally understand. That's now that we've been in the trenches for so long that it's easy to see so many different analysts and guys that approach this market differently. Like I've been doing
Barry, I concur. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, just ignore him.
No. He said something nice to me.
I
Nice.
make fun of Ukrainian. I'm Ukrainian.
No. He said something nice in a language that I speak above that. So I just said I concur.
Here, Barry, I was born in the Ukraine. I moved here when I was 8 years old. My dad's from Kiev.
No, your dad's from Crimea, right? No, you're from Crimea.
Kiev is in Crimea.
Oh, no, Kiev's not in Crimea. But go ahead.
He was born in Kiev. Well, I was born in Sevastopol, which is in Crimea. But my dad
I said something in my language. You got to say something. Say something.
Я знаю, как говорить по-русски. There you have it.
What did you say?
So I know how to speak Russian. And for those that are Ukrainian that did hear me say that will tell me that I have a horrible accent, because I've been told that before. I have a distinct, I don't even know it. I just think I'm talking. But
it's funny because where we live, a lot of the people that I associate with that are friends with you are actually from either like Belarus, which is a complete separate company.
You have a very small sample size. It's all over.
Yeah.
Because we're the hub outside of Brooklyn for the East Coast for immigration. So we came here when I was 8 years old in 1991, May 2nd, 1991. And
I graduated high school June 4th, 1991. But, so for all those people that, it's funny.
Barry got me off track. I don't even remember where I was going with my point.
No, but it's interesting. I don't know if it's so here's an interesting. I'm a first generation American. My father didn't come to this country till he was 40, right? You're an immigrant. You're not even a first generation American.
Right.
What's interesting, it's always been compelling to me, is how you get a divergence when it comes to sports. My father's 86 years old. So for all the viewers, you and I are exactly 10 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Your father had you at 32. My father had me at 32.
No, my dad at 36.
Your dad, no, you're 42. Your dad's 76. I'm 52. My dad's 86. So whatever it was, they both had so we're exactly like the same, a decade apart. My dad couldn't even tell you what a first down is. I don't know if it's an age thing when you come over a certain age. Then I have people like your father that are obsessed with football. My dad's all about soccer.
Yeah, but he changed. He changed. When he came here, he didn't know the sport, and
neither did mine. My dad never cared.
But I was a huge football fan. You were not. You were more a fan of the game of sports betting. You're not a fan of the actual team. I was always prior to sports betting, I was look at my back wall. Ravens, Lamar, Ray Lewis, all of that. I was a huge fan of sports in general. I played high school football. So my dad had to learn and understand what he was watching when he saw me play. So I was a middle linebacker on my football team. I was I thought my ticket was to be a D1 linebacker. Like I was growing.
So you never did the whole you never went with your dad to the soccer. Like I lived in the world where it was Russians. When I say Russian speakers playing soccer along with.
I did. So I did when I was when I first moved here. When I first moved here, we played soccer every day.
Right.
And then once I moved neighborhoods, it became basketball and football. I grew a lot, and I loved to hit people. I was a linebacker. I loved it. I had the right size. I was the same size in ninth grade. Like I basically hit a growth spurt in ninth grade and never grew from that point forward.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. So I hit the growth spurt. now I'm like, I get moved up to varsity, I make all county, and then I never grew. So like I'm 5'10 right now. I'm 5'10, 220. Well, back in high school, I was 5'10, 190, and I just never, I couldn't stack on enough weight, and I couldn't grow a couple more inches. So I never ended up playing, but my dad watched me play, which then translated into him watching the Ravens. The Ravens ended up winning the Super Bowl in 2001 for the first time, which is when I graduated high school.
Right.
And he then fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with betting the sport. I actually went from horses to football. I didn't touch it back then with the bookies. Like, that's really all you could do is during football season. I was really in it. Outside of football season, there was nothing for me to even bet. And then as the years went on, and I realized, like, I was so obsessed with beating it, and I couldn't do it alone.
So you want to hear a funny? So here's the reverse. When did you first learn about the point spread? This will blow your mind. When did you first learn about the point spread?
Probably point spread, probably mid-20s, so like 2003.
So I start working for the company that is now ours when I'm 14, right? 8th grade, get the job to answer the phones. And the guy goes, you'll just answer the phones. And if the client gives you his subscriber number, you'll tell him, Cincinnati Bengals -4. And so for like 6 months, I'm going Cincinnati Bengals -4, the +4 and I'm just a kid, part-time, after school, giving the selections out because there was no website you could log into back then, right? And finally, like, one of the guys was like, "Do you know what you're saying?" I'm like, "I have no idea." He literally had it like simple math. The team means they have to win. Like, literally, I was there a year before I even knew what a point spread was because I had no involvement with gambling other than horse racing, which we live 5 minutes from Pimlico Racetrack. Didn't have any local bookies, and again, I was young. I was 14, right? And then by, I think, 15, it was like, then I had a complete command of all the point spreads, the money lines, the totals. But it's so funny because years later, we would hire secretaries and clerks, Costa. You remember in the beginning when it wasn't all online, we would hire female clerks to answer the phone and give out the selections. And we would have to explain to them what a point spread is and what a total is, what a money line is. And, you just take it for granted now that just everybody knows in the culture. Here, my son's 20 years old. My daughter's 17 years old. Every other commercial is a sports betting commercial. Everybody knows what a point spread is. I think the fantasy world that these kids they're going to be much astute bettors. I think like the bell curve and the learning curve for a 21-year-old today versus a 21-year-old when I was coming up, betting wise, if they're sharp, they'll have more tools at their disposal to fundamentally not be. It's not I grew up in the world where it was a badge of honor to pick the winner. A lot of it was about ego. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. Which is why sports talk was so successful, right? Think about all those sports talk shows and people calling up after the Ravens lose, the local channels.
Still happens. It's still relevant.
I'm saying, but this is like not a real professional or someone trying to make money. They don't care about any of that stuff.
Well, there comes a point where it's not exciting to watch all day Sunday football unless you have action, whether it's fantasy, which is huge right now. I mean, DFS, something that we don't do on the show or on this channel.
I mean, honestly, I feel old. It's like my son does all the drafts. You guys talk about it.
DFS, no, that's season long. That's more for with your buddies entertainment. Obviously, there's money involved, but it's season long. DFS, which is daily fantasy, which is one of my best friends, is a VIP at DraftKings, where
I know
high stakes, right? Everything with him is no different than what we do. He studies the lineup every day. There's an auction where he obviously has a salary cap. So with that salary cap, he has to go into it. And he does this with MMA, which is his favorite thing to do. And he's going into it with logic and math and strategy. He doesn't just say, I like this guy to win. I like this guy to win. It's not opinion based. It's a lot of work that goes into it. And we provide a company to any recreational sports bettor that either wants the free content, which is this show is strategically placed for clients to, or non-clients or just viewers to just get free strategy talk. Make them 1% better by coming in here and just listening, right? Then we have a product where it's absolutely free, where you could literally, if you follow the same group of guys every day on the YouTube channel, you could make money just literally following people's 1 picks or 4 picks that they release. I mean, Ron's Rundown, which is the most successful baseball podcast on the internet. If you just follow that exclusively and play just those games, you will make a lot of money doing it, right? Which is free. Then there's the level of best bets from any of the personalities that you like on this channel. We don't offer that on a daily basis, Eric or myself, because we're not the guys that pick the games. We are brokers to professional betting groups that are doing this for much, much more than just selling picks. They're doing it to bet their own games. So you could go on and buy somebody's daily pick. I don't recommend it. I recommend anything more long-term, which is a month. Like I said earlier on this podcast, a month is the least amount I would ever advise somebody that's trying to make supplemental money. And then if you're on the higher end of things, which is you run a successful business, you already have a lot of liquidity to be able to invest into sports betting, and you want somebody to hold your hand and tell you when to bet, how much to bet, whether to pass or play. In baseball, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to football, a half of my day is telling clients, if your line is off by half a point, it's a no bet. It crossed the key number. This is a play. Play it now. You waited 3 hours. Unfortunately, you have to wait till the line goes to this number. This is the trigger. This is a pass. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that those fat finger mistakes. I mean, look, for example, you had a client that we talked about earlier that doesn't net the return of what we expect over the last year, right? Because you may have missed a couple days. You may have not played the right price. This happens. We can only do so much of trying to educate you and say, this is when you're supposed to bet it and play everything. Don't have an opinion. And I guarantee you, at the end of the year, you will be very satisfied. So we post these financials to our clients. And no matter what we do, no matter how much we handhold, they're always on the lighter side from the client versus what we're showing. And why is that, Eric? Why do you think that is?
I'm going to let you answer the question.
Because they don't play every game.
Right.
And their opinion stands in between them betting for profit versus their opinion of going, there's no way this team is going to win today.
I mean, I see it on my videos when I do these comments. So this started a couple of days ago. Somebody texted me. I think I had Washington. They won 5-0 on Sunday. And then I had a loser on Monday. And then I had Cincinnati won 8-0 yesterday, whatever. These aren't even my service plays, right? Doesn't even matter. Some guy went crazy, started texting me, you're the worst, you should go up, blah, 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 blah. And I was explaining when I called the guy back, he did answer the phone. He apologized. And I said, well, you texted me that you bet a game for $1,000 that I gave out for free that lost. But you also sent me the same text 2 months to the day prior, the same time. Like he sent me on June 12th, I lost 1,000.
Read that.
Well, thank you. Reach out to me again and we'll see if we can bring you back because we can discuss what got priced out was. A lot of time the getting priced out means, and I just had a client that resubscribed to Big Al's All Access prior to coming on here, as you know. And what I said to him was like, a lot of times you control your profits by your unit value. So remember, you asked me what a unit is. Herein lies the rub, right? A unit is 1% of your bankroll. A unit is 1% of your bankroll. So if you start today with $10,000, your unit is $100. The problem is a lot of clients, they act like they are at a $10,000 bankroll when they're now at $20,000. And what you're actually supposed to do is you're supposed to increase your unit based upon the new balance. So I'll have a client and I'll say, well, I'm only up 120 units. So I started with 10,000, now I have 22,000. And I'll say, well, what's your unit value? I'll say $100. Why isn't it 220? So what you have to do is you have to understand, as the bankroll increases, the flip side is your bankroll decreases.
Same thing.
Then gamblers want to double down to make up for a loss. Traders bet less when they're losing and bet more when they're winning. I don't want to use the word press. No. If you start with $10,000, let's use Monday as an example. I had 7 games on Monday. You start with $100,000. You put up $7,000 on 7 games, which is 1%, 1%, 1%. Let's just say, argument's sake, you go 0-7. The next day you come back, you have in your bank account, your upper right-hand corner of your sports book, $93,000. Now you're betting $930 a game. You're not betting $1,000 a game. You only have 93,000. So the flip side of that is Monday I went 4-3 and I made 2,000, 2,100, 30% return on risk. So now you wake up and you have $102,000 in your account. Well, technically you can now bet $1,200 a game instead of 1,000. I'm sorry. You can now bet 1,020 a game instead. And so what happens is, you're flowing, like Bruce Lee said, you got to flow like water. The problem is a lot of guys, they get stuck in chasing when they're down. Like, it's no secret. Al basically was ridiculous. He had 3 losing weeks the entire football season last year, right? But one of those weeks, he lost like 48 units. And the next week he made 42 units. And the following week he made 46 units. So what would happen is, if you back down your wager, you make the 42 units back, but at a lower rate. But now you have a higher bankroll going to the next week. And then you increase, it all winds up working out, where the whole concept is to never run out of money. As opposed to worrying about winning, you worry about losing. You're always defensive, and it's preservation of capital, as opposed to, let me blow my bankroll, because it happens all the time. I start with 50 grand in my account. I make some mistakes and I'm down to 10 grand. Screw it. I'm going to bet all 10 grand on the Sunday night NFL game. Not me personally, just the stories from the clients, right? And I took my account to 0. I'm going to wait till next week and I'm going to reload my account. And it's just like vicious cycle. And, I was discussing it with Al. Al is a very good litmus test on seeing the psychology of sports bettors. If you're not an all access member and you're just a robot and you just played every one of Al's games and you paid $395 a month, you made 120 units last year. So you made $12,000 betting $100 a game last year. Forget the 507 units. People email that they lost money on his games because he went on a 4-game losing streak and they were over leveraged on these games. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff is redundant, but the key is, can you keep your head in it? And I don't know why in the stock market nobody has a problem with this. I don't know why
because it's not exciting. Because
nobody. I don't know. Listen, right now I'm talking to you. Bitcoin right now was at $124,519 6 hours ago. It is now $117,869. Literally just down 7,000.
Yeah, but what I think
Nobody cares.
No, nobody cares because it's not sport. It's not a sport. A sport, people care about the outcomes because it's not just about the money, it's about the fandom. People have their teams, people have their clubs, people love to root for something. Nobody cares to root for Bitcoin. They just care about the outcome.
Alex, 443-957-1006. Send me a text. I'll hook you up.
And it's never going to change. Crypto or stocks, nobody cares that NVIDIA is doing this. People only care that the Orioles are doing this.
Right.
Because they're fans of the Orioles or they're fans of baseball, and they feel like they can control the outcome more than a stock or a crypto. So it's never going to be the same, but we try to merge the gap between trader and gambler.
I'm going to ask, let me answer JoJo's question. And I know we're running a little over, but we're getting close to football. We're having fun. Yes. So I'm not going to name the person. I like him. He's probably going to watch the recap of this if he's not in brain surgery right now. I'm not going to say his name. He's a brain surgeon. I spend a lot of time psychologically like helping people. Usually it's the wealthiest client. So this is really weird, guys. The wealthiest clients have the hardest time following the systems and winning. The guy that wants to add to his income where it's going to really be important, he's the easier guy to deal with, because when you can afford to lose, you can basically afford to lose. This one brain surgeon, he's every year that he's called me, I've been fortunate enough to provide him with a winning service, and he's managed to find a way to lose $2 million every football season. It's just to the point where the wife's going to like leave him, and it's sad because it always ends the same way. Well, you didn't have anything on the Sunday night game, so I bet 300,000 on it.
Every time. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it's like, I love the guy, but it's like, he's not going to miss any meals. But this is why I get a lot of hate on my videos. I usually used to keep my pricing quiet. You would reach out to me. I have 4 products. One is $1,000 a month. One is $4,000 a month. One is $20,000 a month. Why this makes people freak out and lose their minds, I have no idea. If somebody's paying me $20,000 a month, they got a $500,000 bankroll. Not $100,000 bankroll, a minimum, and they're betting 1%, which means they're betting $5,000 a game, which means it's 4 bets, which is basically if they're paying $20,000 a month, they're paying $5,000 a week. They got a $500,000 bankroll. They're betting 1 bet is basically my weekly fee. In every other walk of life, nobody freaks out with luxury. Nobody cares if somebody buys a Ferrari. Nobody cares if you're Costi and you go to Vegas and you buy a Merce for $2,500. Was it $2,600, $2,500? You bought a Merce. Like, nobody cares.
We don't got to talk about that.
But when it comes to sports,
my Merce out here.
When it comes to, would you have to sell the Merce for some? No, I'm just joking. The wife's got the Merce. When it comes to this, I find that I'll get the most negative feedback where I'm providing a product based upon your wagering goals and needs. And what happens is we have something for everybody. This is what Mitch used to say, may he rest in peace. We have something for everybody. You have absolutely free, which is free. That's the greatest thing of all time, right? And then a lot of the people that I deal with, they reach out to me, and they can be in all walks of life, whether it's Alex that hopefully will reach out to me again, whether it's the guy that lost the $2 million last year. I think there needs to be a reckoning of it's trading, it's not gambling. I don't think you can be a winning gambler, whether it's in the stock market, whether it's in the futures market or the crypto markets or the commodity markets. And I don't think you can be a winning gambler in the sports market. I think the term itself sets you up for failures. Calling yourself every one of you out there, if somebody says, do you bet on sports? Say, no, I'm a sports trader. Even if you're not yet. Believe you're a sports trader instead of a sports gambler, because then you're trading. There's a method to the madness, as opposed to, I just like the Ravens because I live in Baltimore. So I know we ran over. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. For those that Eric brought it up, I love wearing a merce when I travel. This was a big ongoing discussion when, again, Mitch, rest in peace. He would always ask me, what do you have in the merce? And they would, on the morning show, they would discuss it. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We will be back next week, same time, 1 p.m., with another episode of Tales from the Ticket. You can catch me on Friday as I do the morning show, when I chop it up with the guys and give them my opinions, spots, and situations that I am on in the current daily markets, which is mainly baseball right now. Catch Eric doing his Dime Club video, very informational.
Oh, and I'm gonna,
as well as his Big Al's All Access video that you can see every day.
The best tip I can give, it just rereading JoJo's comment, the Uncut Gems comment. One thing has caused more people to lose money in the 39-year career that I've been doing this than any other thing. What is it, Costi?
The casino. Online casino.
Alcohol. Getting drunk and then revenge betting when you're drunk. Just logging into your account, late night. It's that West Coast game, especially if you live on the East Coast. Oh, Hawaii is playing on Saturday. It's like, Hawaii, I don't know if you realize this, Costa, before we end this video, because Al's in Los Angeles and we're on the East Coast. More money is wagered on the East Coast than literally we put the West Coast to shambles and shame, right? All the big money is on the East Coast that moves the markets.
Hey, don't upset the West Coast money.
I love you, West Coasters, but the East Coast guys, the reason why the Hawaii football game has the largest handle every Saturday is because it's the midnight game on the East Coast, the get out game, the I'm drunk game, that there's only one more game to bet on game. So what winds up happening, if you actually watch the line move at post around 11:45, if you're up that late to 11:50, and you fade that move, you basically know what everybody's betting because they're all stuck from the earlier wagers. So it's just a little free tip for that Hawaii game, because nobody else would care about betting on Hawaii other than it's the last game on the board every Saturday. There you go.
There you have it, guys. Again, we will be back here. We ran a little bit over, but it's exciting. Football starting 9 days before college football. If you want to talk about opportunities for you to join any of the products that we offer, the phone numbers are on PickDawgz.com. Under Safe for Syndicate Group, that's my number. Under Dime Club, that's Eric's number. Feel free to reach out to us. If not, keep being a fan. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll be back next week. Same time, same place, same channel, as always. Good day and good luck, as Eric always says.